Hello, welcome back to Drinking by My Shelf. My name is Emma and today I have an exciting announcement for you. This month I did a buddy read with Emma Tobias, who is another booktuber who is fantastic. I will put her channel below and you should definitely subscribe to her. We read Diary of a Teenage Girl by Phoebe Gloeckner and we had some thoughts on it, which I will come to in a minute. But the exciting part is that we loved the buddy read experience so much that we have decided to turn this into a book club. One of the main things that we talked about while reading Diary of a Teenage Girl was its portrayal of female teenage sexuality. So that's why we really wanted to set up this book club. Every month we're going to do a new buddy read and we'll let you know what we're reading so that any of you guys can read along with us and chat to us about the books. And our aim is to find as many different portrayals of sexuality and first-time sex, your own definition of virginity, whatever that might be, anything that challenges the narrative that we're usually fed of what young female sexuality is supposed to be. So, the name of our book club is going to be Girl Sex 101, because we are looking for new approaches to sexuality for anybody who is female or whose identity includes female in any way, because we're really interested in the way that society's view of what female sex is supposed to be, how that might impact on your lives, and how we can challenge it. So I'm going to be announcing the February book club pick at the end of this video, but first I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about our thoughts on Diary of a Teenage Girl. I thought this book was so good. I think both of us felt like this book was amazing, but also that it was not enjoyable. It is a very sad book. It is dark. A lot of things happen to this main character, and it's made harder by the fact that we know a lot of it is based on the author's real life. So this is a very raw account of her own abuse, and for that reason, it's very hard to read, but it is definitely worth reading. The main character in this book is called Minnie Getz, and she's a teenage girl who, right at the beginning of the book, starts having an affair with her mother's boyfriend. So obviously, this is completely inappropriate. He is in a position of power over her. This does constitute abuse. But what's really fascinating about this book is that even through this happening, we're still able to see Minnie's sexuality. She still does have sexual agency. She still does have sexual desire. And it reminded me a little bit of Louise O'Neill's Asking for It, in that Minnie is painted as the imperfect, in very inverted commas because I don't believe this anyway, but the imperfect victim, in that she's not shy and scared and doesn't want this to happen. It's not black and white like that. This is a real teenager with real lust, and she does feel sexual attraction to her mother's boyfriend. She does want this relationship to happen. That still doesn't make it okay. So that's one thing I thought was particularly effective. I don't want to go too much into what happens without giving spoilers, but it does get very, very dark and it does get sadder as it goes along. And Emma and I talked about a really interesting thing we noticed happening to do with Minnie's sexuality as the book went on, which is that at the beginning it's very much coming from her. It's very much autonomous. Even though she's in this abusive relationship, her lust comes first and she is driven to do these sexual acts. As the book goes on and as she starts facing slut shaming and hearing more and more about other people's views of what female sexuality is supposed to be, that becomes internalized, and so the way that she talks about her sexual experiences becomes more passive. It becomes, I let them do this to me. And we thought that was really interesting and really sadly true, that society's view of what female sexuality is supposed to be can actually affect our own sexuality and our own sexual experiences. And the story is just really beautifully told. It's half graphic novel and half illustrated novel. There's lots of pictures throughout. And bits of it, I think, were taken word for word from Phoebe Gloeckner's own diary, which you can really tell because it felt so familiar. I mean, the experiences in this diary are nothing like what you will find in mine, but the style that it's written in is actually so reminiscent of how I used to write my diary. It's just a very honest and real teenage voice. So, overall, we had a lot of fun reading The Diary of a Teenage Girl. Fun's the wrong word. We were very emotionally moved and fascinated by The Diary of a Teenage Girl, and we're going to watch the movie together, and apparently that's a bit happier. But next, our beginner's introduction to female sexuality, Girl Sex 101 journey continues with February's book, which is going to be If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo. I don't know if there's any sex in this book, actually, but this is a romance from the point of view of a trans teenage girl. And we thought that this would be a good one to read next, because it's going to be interesting to see, again, how other people's impression of what your gender identity is supposed to be and what your sexuality is supposed to be can affect your own developing of romantic relationships. So leave me a comment below if you'd like to read this book along with us in February. I'll give you the exact dates of when we're going to be reading it at some point, but basically just read it through the month of February and then we'll put videos up at the end of the month talking about our feelings on this book. And as usual, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button below for new videos every Thursday and Friday now. I'm going double. See you next time!